women are dead. Evil bitches, rise up!
If you don't have a man, you ain't nothing.
So be. Properly.
So, when you said that this is in response to the treatment that men have been getting from women, that would include their mothers too, right?
Why wouldn't it? It doesn't come up directly in conversations. This is another reason why. I mean, I have my own criticisms of Manosphere type conversation and all, but
also you can post the StreamYard link in your chat if you wanted to.
All right, will do. I have my issues with it, but I think sometimes we don't bring up enough factors. We almost always focus on the romantic interplay between male and female, whereas my general position is that this is not a problem of romance. This is a problem of structural, like societal structural issues. There's government and societal norms that have kind of shifted over time to put more weight on one side of the equation than the other.
Got you. And then and handling that, balancing that, this is why men need to not this is something that I've always said. This is why men need to focus on iron and sharpen iron, right? How it is that we need to better ourselves, regardless of what the women say or do. What they say about us as men, how they treat us as men, that has nothing to do with how it is that we move as men. That's always been my position on it.
Not sure what you're implying in that statement. What are you getting at?
That regardless of what the feminists say, regardless of the feminine men say, regardless of how it is that they talk about us as men, I'm not including us as black men just yet, because that part wasn't even discussed in the documentary. That was the crazy part. But how it is that the world view us as men, that has no effect on me, because either I'm gonna get it or I'm gonna go make it happen, regardless of how that works. Because not every woman is a feminist, and not every man is a effeminate man. Not everybody is going to treat you a certain type of way just because you're a man. It may be presumed that way, but that goes back to that concept that this is just a barrier that men are creating around themselves because they think that all the women or the world is out to get them. Would you say that that's a fair assessment?
I would argue it's not totally untrue.
Elaborate, please.
Why does the NBA have like a specific training course for their young ballers about groupies? What is that about?
I don't know. I don't pay attention to basketball too much, to be honest with you.
And I would argue this is a sports wide. This is just in the major sporting world in general. Once you have young men with millions of dollars of money at play, they become targets of women. And so it's counterintuitive to think that some little old creature with breast and a vagina is somehow threatening to your reality as a man. But in the modern world, more men are taken down by women than by, bandits on the highway.
This is true. I'm not going to disagree with you that, but I would think that points back to a character flaw on how it is that men are just willing to sow their seeds anywhere, and we're just willing to get in any relationship that comes across. Just because they throw pussy at you doesn't mean you got to take it.
Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Good morning, everybody. I thank you all for tuning in once again. That was an excerpt from a conversation I was having a couple of days ago with Cellulite podcast, rather, and it turned into a whole thing. Angry Man came up much later on in the convo, but that whole thing initially kicked off because Cellulite, Cell had watched this conversation. Well, he watched this Netflix documentary that has come out recently about the Manosphere. And I might as well, at some point I'll get around to pulling that thing up on Netflix and watching it, I guess. But I haven't watched the whole thing yet. I do have a couple of clips to bring to you guys from the Netflix Manosphere documentary. And I'm just my initial reaction is, Cellulite, Cell, I can't believe you decided to bring this content over on the black side of the Manosphere. Like, they were not talking about black men, for one. So I don't know why you jumped in this.
Social media now. What would you say is the message?
I coach boys how to make money.
Wow, this is a nice spot.
How to be outside the system. How to be proper guys.
Shut up or nut up.
Would you see me that way? Did you look at my arms?
The stature's not saying too much.
I was entering the Manosphere, a wild frontier of streamers whose behavior is reshaping the culture.
Now, right away, you can tell by just the imagery, it's already being set up as a little bit of a mockumentary where you have this beta guy, like he's intentionally beta, and he's attempting to create a mocking style documentary about the Manosphere to kind of project the idea that his beta-ness is the actual acceptable general norm for men right now. And all these other guys who want to, fuck bitches, get money, something is like new and extreme about that. And now he wants to take a look into the culture of getting money.
People ask me why Miami, and I tell them because if it was 120 years ago, I'd be on a horse on the way to California to dig for gold.
Whose appeal has proved irresistible to hordes of young fans.
15 is probably like your main demographic.
No, it isn't.
They hear that content, they think it's acceptable.
Fuck the woman! Fuck the woman!
What have I done?
I'm doing it for money. I don't care about.
The morality of it.
I'm not living for other people. I'm living for myself.
What can some little beta twink tell you about morality? You know, I was kind of struggling with this concept a while ago. I forgot when, but I think it was something in the eyes of like the slave morality, I guess, is really what I was thinking about. It's like you have this morality that can only conceive of the world from one position, therefore slave morality. Whereas like, if you've never been in a position to totally destroy something and then decide not to for reasons that are completely abstract and theoretical because it's just not right for whatever logical conclusion you've come to, unless you've ever had or been in the power to destroy something and then choose not to, can you even consider yourself good? You know, it's sort of like that. You know, the idea like, are you even moral if you've never actually tested the bounds of morality? And as a little skinny armed beta, I can tell you haven't tested the bounds of morality. So what are you going to tell me about morality?
The mother of my children, she doesn't talk about them.
We don't cross into each other's lane.
Stings, huh? You seem upset by it. You seem upset by it.
Do you consider yourself a misogynist?
I love women and I actually understand them.
You think you know better than they do?
They want a guy that can lead them and dominate them.
And here's the infamous, I guess Myron can be like the token black for the Netflix show. This is why they're talking about the Black Manosphere, because Myron is like the token black.
Got anything to say to the live, Thoreau?
Not really. Do you think Satanists are running the world?
Absolutely.
They talk about misinformation on the internet. This is what they're talking about.
So he just called the Manosphere misinformation on the internet. Things guys care about is technically misinformation on the internet. All the things that men understand, but they won't let us discuss openly, that's misinformation on the internet.
I'm raw. I'm not a puppet. I'm not controlled. I don't do this bullshit editing that you guys do because I'm real.
Are you getting triggered?
So yeah, that was a couple of days ago, March 11th. The Manosphere is still infamous, y'all. And, you know, the world out there still sucks, man. The dating world apparently is still shit. Everybody's lonely and miserable. Men don't like the women don't like the men. What are you going to do?
I don't think men realize that women of our generation have been told by the women of older generations since we were young, don't rely on a man for anything, have your own money, get a good job, get an education, because a man can't take that from you. And a big reason why those women had to tell us that is because they fought to get away from those oppressive assholes. And they said, look at me, look at me. If nobody's forcing you to be in this position, don't. And we listened. We said, okay, so we are on the trajectory to women outperforming men professionally. So that's why I think it's really funny when men say things like, we don't care about your job. We don't care about our job. That's not what makes a good woman. We don't care that you don't care about that. We're doing this for our own lives and our own safety and protection that you claim to provide for women, but you're only really protecting against other men, right? I think the reason why so many men are crashing out about that is because they've never seen it before. They don't know how to handle it. And then the other problem with that is you have these creepy old men that continue to basically exhibit pedophilia and go after these women that are in their early 20s. The problem with that is they listen to us and they listen to the women that came before us. They don't give a fuck about y'all. They don't give a fuck about y'all. And they're also not falling for your little propaganda either. Women need to look like this. You're never going to find a man if you don't do that. Good. Give me a list of all the things that I need to do to make a man not like me, because I will do every single fucking one of them. Y'all ain't the price. Y'all ain't shit. And the fact that men will equate women wanting to be in the company of their own home and not bothered by somebody else's bullshit as oppressive and misandry. Do you know what we're worried about when we date? It's about getting stalked, getting harassed, not having our boundaries respected, possibly getting abused, in some cases murdered. So I don't care that your little ego is bruised because suddenly I make more money than you and I'm doing a little better.
Now, on the one hand, you have that end of the dating spectrum, which is, you know, the dark, deep end. That's the muddy water. You don't want to jump into that end. It's nasty down there. I like how he just sort of massaged the moment away. He instantly was like, hey, can you do me a favor? Get out of here. Go clean something up for me. That was a nice touch, right? I like that move. All right, can you just leave and clean something up for me? Love you. Thanks. Here, take this dog with you, too. That was a really cool touch, Myron. He saw a little bit of pain in her. Oh. Oh. She feels pain. He feels her pain. What I love how they try to like make this. They make him the most evil thing imaginable in these this is the intent, is to sort of stretch out the drama of this to make this the most evil thing imaginable. When in reality, there are so many situations like this up and down the country. This is the typical situationship that girls complain about, right? And they're making him somehow the bad guy. But if she didn't want to do it, she didn't have to do it. Why is it that we focus on him in the relationship, but not her decision to be in the relationship with him? This is the part about it I don't understand. Like, why is he the bad guy when she clearly wants to be with the, quote, bad guy?
A few moments later.
It's been several months, guys, that we haven't been together. She was a good girlfriend, bro. We haven't been together for a minute, and she wants a family. And I can't give that to her right now.
Well, sometimes you got to let it go, huh? Sometimes it just doesn't work out with the bad guy. It's the way it is, ladies. Sometimes it just don't go that way for you. But yeah, this whole Netflix documentary thing is wow. I think this is something else from the guy, Louis Theroux, who hosted the documentary.
I mean, to quote Myron Gaines, one of the main people I speak to is a guy called Myron Gaines. Are you familiar with him? Yes. So he's part of a double act called Fresh and Fit. They have a podcast in Miami. Their content is very extreme. And Myron Gaines wrote a book called Why Women Deserve Less.
So there you go. Number one bestseller in feminist theory. Let's go, nigga.
And his whole message is that women have been pampered and they are over entitled. And as men, we need to recognize that and give them less, and everything will go more smoothly. And so his message would be, actually, yeah, men can hack the game of life. You know, I can teach you the cheat codes of life. A lot of it based on old PUA, pickup artistry, supposed hacks. You know, negging women, recognizing that women are, in their words or in their view, status obsessed. and then you can build the life that you would like and would deserve by employing his techniques. I mean, there's a lot more that could be said about that. I mean, I found it so inimical to the way I think about it. I mean, I was raised by a feminist mum, you know,
Raised by a feminist mom. Once you tell me that, I don't really trust anything that comes out of you after that. Raised by a feminist mom. It's like I'm arguing with your mom now. I know for a fact now I'm arguing with the spirit of your dead feminist mom.
In South London, in a world where, yeah, the idea that, you know, my mum was a working mum. I grew up in the 70s in South London. So these ideas are so alien to me that I had to kind of get my head around them. I think a lot of it seems to be based on his interactions with cam girls and OnlyFans models. Like, in his world, he's like when he's talking about women, he only really seems to be talking about Instagram models and women who do a lot of social media. Like that gets you some way down to understanding like what his mindset is. But within his sample group, he's in this world where there's this competition in which all women, one of his big things is like women shouldn't go on social media. And if you have a girlfriend, you got to keep her off social media. Even Myron Gaines would say a lot of what he says to be outrageous, you know, to get people's attention, to wake them up. Like they do sort of walk back. Some of the things they say are so horrific. I don't even want to really repeat them, but you know, so sort of horrific in terms of seeming to endorse sexual assault or certainly minimize it, and saying things like, as I said, like that women shouldn't vote. I think he said at one point he thought gay people should be rounded up and put in special camps.
Wow. I wonder if that's in the documentary. Please tell me you put that in the Netflix documentary. You can't just be saying shit like that and not put it in a documentary, bro. Video or it never happened. All right. Live stream it or it never happened. Now we got to go watch this goddamn documentary. But the question of the day, though, is how bad is the Manosphere? Because, you know, I've been hearing for a while now that the Manosphere is awful. These men are horrible. You niggas terrible. You all suck. You're black, neck-bearded niggas who hate your mama. You ain't never got none, can't get none, won't be shit, ain't gonna been shit. All these things.
It can just be summed up with white liberal education. It's just that simple. White liberal feminist attitudes, brainwashed, completely destroyed the concept of masculine and feminine, obfuscated them, twisted them, contorted them, blended them, completely destroyed the concept of gender roles, strengths and weaknesses, dating, how to be a woman, how to be a man. And you know who I blame? I blame the Manosphere.
Hotep, you're a genius. Hotep.
Now, there's a lot of jump cuts in this edit, so I hate when people do that. When you jump cut like this, it's hard to really know for a fact if this is everything accurately what you were saying. I hate the heavy jump cut video, but at the same time, you edit it together for this to make a point. And it seems like you start out telling me that the feminists were to blame.
It can just be summed up with white liberal education. It's just that simple. White liberal feminist attitudes.
White liberal education, right? Okay, check.
Brainwashed, completely destroyed the concept of masculine and feminine, obfuscated them, twisted them, contorted them, blended them, completely destroyed the concept of gender roles, strengths and weaknesses, dating, how to be a woman, how to be a man. And you know who I blame? I blame the Manosphere.
Hotep, you're a genius. HotepJesus.com.
I blame the Manosphere because we had an opportunity to really change things. And this is why I got blackballed from Fresh and Fit. I was on an episode of The Six with Donovan Sharp and others. Kevin Samuels was on that show. And the question was, what's wrong with the Manosphere? And I was like, Fresh and Fit is what's wrong with the Manosphere. I said it out loud.
That's a who, not a what. And I understand you have issues with individuals, but beyond the who, you got to give me a more substantive what. And I need to hear the what part.
fit is what's wrong with the manosphere. I said it out loud. I said it. That was wrong. Because they are really just meninists. That's what they are. They're meninists. They're men feminists, but just on the other side. So all they do is run around the internet and find reasons to hate women. So they've helped create a whole group of men that don't want to date women or don't value women or don't understand the female nature, because all the people in the manosphere are busy grifting off of women are bad.
You know, Hotep, once you tell us that these guys don't understand feminine nature, female nature, it's now incumbent upon you to actually explain some type of female nature that you obviously understand in a way that these niggas don't. Unless you're prepared to have a conversation about female nature, I don't know if you want to get in that conversation. And then the whole meninism thing. Listen, I don't think you niggas are even close enough to feminism yet. Like, the idea of men just talking about things somehow gets like equated to feminism is crazy to me. Like, the parallels don't even hold up, where feminism literally like is a type of religion where effectively they make a devil out of men and make a utopia out of a world without men. And this is why I start calling it like feminist theology. When I was arguing with Angry Man the other day, when you say things like, yo, men just were beating up on their women all the time, and the only reason men want to have all the power and authority is to just control and enslave their women. I'm like, bro, you are reading out the feminist Bible. You are a feminist theologian, my nigga. What are you doing? I don't think you can really say that about the manosphere, the black manosphere. The men don't blame women for every single thing that's went wrong. I mean, even the whole biblical Adam and Eve thing, like, dudes don't even take that metaphor and run with it exactly. Dudes just talk about the order of things. Like, actually, the way I explained it, you know, patriarchy is a biological imperative, all right? Because I have the balls, that dictates patriarchy. Something about having balls means patriarchy.
So you got one side say men are bad, the other side says women are bad, and that is the perfect recipe for destroyed relationships and a declining dating market where only a few women are going to be fighting over top tier men. Is it just the facts of the matter? The manosphere had a strong opportunity. We were making grounds, you know what I'm saying? And they chose, because see, the thing is,
opportunity to do what though? I hate when people trail off with these half-baked ideas. Like, an opportunity for what? Like, every moment of your life is a goddamn opportunity, bro. Opportunity to do what?
the simps been heartbroken and never healed from whatever happened with their relationships. Maybe they could have never got a girl. Maybe a girl cheated on them, broke up with them, said he got a little penis. I don't know. But there was some trauma. They mama hate them. They hate their mama. There's some trauma that they have not healed. Usually what you're talking is hate that which you can't have. And that's what they feed. That's why you see all these people in these chats, because they feed them toxic concepts. And then so you get a bunch of people in the millions who are trauma bonding with each other over what women did to them. And they're not healing. And they're just...
You niggas need to heal. You need to heal. You know what? That's why the Manosphere has an official therapy wing. You know, shout out to what's his name over there? The therapy brother. What's therapy bro's name? Shout out to the therapy bro. You want healing, nigga? We do healing. Niggas be doing therapy, counseling, and shit. We got a whole therapy bro. What do you mean niggas don't heal? Yeah, ask a therapy bro. Talking about the Manosphere don't be doing healing. What do you mean? Niggas opened up a whole therapy wing. Niggas be pulling up heavy, getting the therapy bro conversations. You got Dr. T. Hassan Johnson. What do you mean niggas don't go to get get healed. I don't even know what niggas mean when they say healing. It's only like you can only ever really mock the concept. What do you need? Like romantic healing? You need emotional healing? I'm not even gonna say the next one. You know the next one. But I'm like, no, what do you mean? What do you mean by niggas need to heal? She gave me a boo-boo that just won't stop.
Filling themselves with more hatred and more rage. But the grifters get paid off of that hatred and rage. Meanwhile, the grifters are in relationships with women. Some of them are married. Imagine that.
Yeah, outside of a very, very distinct particular few, like I think BGS himself describes himself as quote monk mode, where for whatever reason, I think a lot of it has to do with age as well, but for whatever reason, he's just decided I'm just really checked out of the game. And I think there is a certain percentage of men, like I said, age has a lot to do with it, but you know, life and circumstance will kind of just push you down a path where, like, I mean, you know, there are just some guys where you can tell you are just not interested in trying to be around women for whatever reasons. Like, and then, you know, like it's a thing. It's a thing. But that's always been a thing, right? That's always been a percentage of men who just are going to wash out of the whole dating game thing or whatever. It is what it is. And a big thanks to my man SKC, the Coon of Coons, with the 5-ball opening up the super chat game. Super chat button works. Thank y'all so much for coming out today. Hit that like button, y'all.
Everybody must eat. Everybody must eat. Everybody must eat. Everybody must eat. Yes.
We are talking about the Manosphere and young women struggling. Why would these two ideas be connected? Why would I even try to put these, why would I ram these two things together subject-wise, right? Why am I blending content that don't blend, right? Well, here's the thing. I don't make the rules. You know, I don't make this stuff up. I say a lot of shit, but I do my best to not lie to you people. And this is what's going on right now in the internet world, y'all. And yeah, I guess because somebody opened up the game, you know, support the Panda, y'all. Panda fees are in effect. Appreciate you so much. Shout out to SKC. Gonna open up the Panda and let these niggas trample on my nice, fresh white carpet eventually.
Take control. Take control of your city.
Shout out to SKC. Shout out to Trader NBD for the Panda fees. Should the dog dust off his mic, you're welcome to come up, but give me about 30-ish minutes to get through this next part of the content. 30-ish minutes. I'm not even going to keep this part going on too long. You know, I can do this part. I can monologue for a good 3 hours straight. I just try not to. I try to stay within reason now. I'm professional now, you know?
There's a thought that stuck with me, and I've heard it coming up again and again in different conversations I've been having. It's about this alleged men's crisis we're living in. The idea that men are no longer living up to the social and economic gains of their fathers and grandfathers, and society has tossed them to the wolves of loneliness, despair, and purposelessness. I am left with one question. What about the women? According to one 2024 study, women across 34 countries are faring worse than men when it comes to their levels of anxiety, despair, and overall mental health.
So right away, across the Western world, women are down bad, it looks like. Their anxiety, their mental health, their overall internal well-being is just on the decline right now. And we got to talk about it. What's wrong with women, y'all?
We need our weave. I don't wear it, but we need it.
What's going on under the weave? We're taking a look under the weave, y'all.
You know, in some ways, we're just really inured to women suffering. We're used to it. It doesn't grab us because it's, you know, a very old problem. I also think a lot of times women's suffering, it's quiet because women have had to suffer quietly for a very long time.
Do women suffer quietly? I didn't know that was a thing. Maybe it's because I'm Black. A lot of the times when I hear things said broadly about, you know, men, women, gender dynamics, I often wonder how much of a a racial disparity is coming up. Like, is that true mostly if you're Black? Because I don't hear Black women suffering quietly. That's just the thing I don't often hear. I mean, one thing Black women are not known for is suffering quietly, y'all.
I need that money.
They might suffer, but they don't suffer quietly. You're gonna know. You're gonna know that they got problems and they need you to do something.
Historically, Faith is absolutely right. Women have long been more likely than men to struggle with or be diagnosed with depression and anxiety.
I'm here with Faith Hill, staff writer for The Atlantic, and Meg Jay, clinical psychologist and author of The 20-Something Treatment.
Thanks for having us.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Hello, hello. I'm Brittany Luce, and you're listening to It's Been a Minute from NPR, a show about what's going on in culture and why it doesn't happen by accident. Faith, you recently wrote an article for The Atlantic called Young Men Aren't the Only Ones Struggling. And it was about the mental health and, frankly, identity crisis that young American women are facing today, as American culture and media has been fascinated the past few years with the struggles of young men.
So the Manosphere has taken over everybody's media attention span. And now we've gotten to the point where we're wondering what happened to the women. We've been talking so long and so much about what's going on with the men. Why are the men so awful? Why are the men so terrible? We have forgotten to look at the girls. And as it turns out, these women are horrible too, goddammit.
When we talk about the men's crisis, we're talking about men earning fewer degrees than women, or having weaker social networks than women do, and dying by suicide at higher rates than women.
I really just wanted to kind of add some extra context to that conversation, because I do think it is important to talk about the ways that men are struggling more than they used to. But I've realized from talking to other people that a lot of people really thought that meant they're struggling more than young women. And in fact, women have, struggled with higher rates of depression and anxiety for a long time.
I wonder, what does this demographic-wide crisis look like for women and girls?
People talk a lot in this conversation about, men having higher suicide rates than women, which is true, but women actually attempt suicide significantly more than men. And the discrepancy is actually because men are more likely to use more violent and lethal means.
Clearly a skills issue, all right? If you wanted it, you do it. It's not like you don't really know how, all right? I bet if you wanted to kill me, you know how to do it. Skill issue, all right? God of the sea, I'm with you. Fake, fake, fake. There's a skill issue. If they wanted out, they would be out, all right? Because when they want you out, they know how to get you out, don't they? When they want to get you out of the game, they know exactly how to get you out of the game. I'm gonna throw this radio in your bathtub, I'm gonna pour this thing in this coffee maker. They know exactly how to get you out of the game when they want you out the game, but when they want themselves out of the game, it's, I'm just a girl. Oops, I did it again. Somebody come help me.
Perhaps the thing you hear most in these conversations about men struggling is, as you said, that men are attending and graduating college less than they did in the past and less than women. But that, I think, it gets flattened sometimes into kind of this point about how men are suffering and women are thriving. And I just don't think it necessarily means that, women are flourishing or really that happy, because it really just shows a certain type of high functioning, I think.
Gosh.
But I thought women were doing great. Listen, every time I hear these chicks talk, they're like, I'm awesome. You niggas are horrible. I don't know what your problem is. You need to get like me.
We are absolutely winning right now. Absolutely. We have done more than change the conversation. We changed the balance of power in the federal government.
What happened to that? I thought just 4, 5, 6 years ago, was it? Black women saved the world. They elected that old white man and they saved the world. Didn't they tell you guys? Don't you remember? Weren't you there? Where were you when black women saved the world like 6 years ago? Put a 1 in the chat if you were there when black women saved the world roughly 6 years ago. Do you remember the celebrations? Do you remember the victories, the parades, the marching? God, the twerking. Do you remember the twerking? After black women saved civilization itself by electing their old white zaddy, they were so high on themselves. They saved the world. They felt like the Avengers. It was like the end of the Avengers. There was a new hope finally. Somebody was looking out for the little guy. Remember that? Remember? No voting, no fucking. No voting, no fucking. I remember. They took your booty to the poll. Remember when they took the booties to the polls? It wasn't my booty. Ain't no polls coming nowhere near my booty. But they took some booties to some polls. I remember that. I remember a whole campaign about polls and booties. And I was like, wait, no, pineapples. I can't. I'm not ready. I don't know about this. But there was that whole thing where there was polls and there were booties. And the Democrat Party, the black women in particular, were like, yeah, this is what we're about. You're doing this now. You got that poll. No, you got the booty. I got the poll. We're doing this now. That's exactly what they told you a couple of years ago. They said, you got the booty. We got the poll. Let's make Biden president. They saved the world. I remember they told me every chance they got, they were on television. They were on all the cable news networks and shit. They were on all the podcasts. They were everywhere. We did it. We did it. Black Girl Magic. Remember Black Girl Magic? I need that that South Park clip about member berries. Remember Black Girl Magic? Remember when Kamala Harris came out as black? That was Black Girl Magic. That was when America first got its national. That was our national hit of Black Girl Magic. Kamala Harris, she took off the Indian sari or whatever that thing is called. She wiped the little dot off her forehead. She licked her thumb and smudged the dot right off her forehead. Black Girl Magic. Remember Black Girl Magic, y'all? Oh my God, who remembers? Do you remember? Remember the Summer of Love? Who remembers the Summer of Love? They are putting statues up to black girls right now because of the Summer of Love. There is an Iron Keisha. Well, she's probably bronze. There's a bronze Keisha statue in Manhattan, Times Square right now because everybody wants to remember. Remember BLM? Remember when Black Lives Matter? You guys remember when Black Lives used to matter? What happened to that? I remember when Black Lives Matter a whole lot for like 18 months in a row. Who remembers Black Lives Mattering? It was glorious. It was like 18 months in a row, Black Lives Mattered. Never ever before and never again shall Black Lives Matter. But for a good 18 months straight, Black Lives Matter. Do you guys remember when Black Lives Mattered? And now they're telling me that these women, they're depressed. It's like that. It's like when Adele came out. We could have had it all. Remember when these bitches thought they had it all? That's what they feel like right now. We could have had it all. Black Lives Mattered. George Floyd dead. You bitches was on the up and up. Everything was looking good. And then you know what you did? You transgendered yourself into a box. Black lives were mattering. Black women were about to have it all. And then you got transgendered into a box you couldn't get out of. Now you're all sad and depressed and shit. What happened? Remember when they used to love us? Remember when we used to be in love? Remember when this used to be cool?
Women are flourishing, are really that happy, because it really just shows a certain type of high functioning, I think.
Gosh. Meg, you kind of come at this issue from a different angle as a psychologist and also an author who has really looked very deeply at early adulthood and all the challenges that come from that. How do the editorialized versions of the struggles of young men and young women line up with the actual experiences of people that, have been sitting on your couch or that you've been interviewing or talking to for your books?
Yeah, I mean, I think what a lot of people don't realize is that as long as we've been measuring mental health in adulthood, that young adulthood has been the mental health low point of life.
What? Hold on.
The entire time.
That I'll tell you something. That explains a lot of my 20s when you put it like that, Meg.
Of course it does. Well, because I've been specializing in 20.
Wait a minute. Wait, did I just hear that right?
Talking to for your books.
Yeah, I mean, I think what a lot of people don't realize is that as long as we've been measuring mental health in adulthood, that young adulthood has been the mental health low point of life.
What?
Young adulthood has been the mental health low point of life, right? So when these women are out there in their 20s, let's start at 18 because, this is a respectable family show. So from the years 18 to let's say 28, right? Let's go from entry into the marketplace all the way till you hit the wall and you got to leave. That's when you're putting on all the baggage, right? Which is also coincidentally when you're taking the most dick. As a modern young woman, that's when you're going to get the most hits on goal. And so you are now giving a little bit of parallel ancillary credence to the whole body count theory, right? Because that would be the part of your life when you're more likely to rack up counts on your body. Interesting.
Hold on.
The entire time.
That I'll tell you something. That explains a lot of my 20s when you put it like that, Meg.
Of course it does. Well, because I've been specializing in 20-somethings for 20 years, and any actual 20-something says, yes, I feel seen. But I think from the outside or maybe in the rearview mirror, we can't remember what's so challenging about it. So it's a challenging time for men and women. It's the most uncertain years of life. The brain doesn't like that. Friends, family, health, wealth, all that is still up in the air. So that makes people feel depressed and anxious.
And what do girls do when they're feeling depressed and anxious? What do hot girls do when they're depressed and anxious, huh? Hey, what do fat girls do when they're depressed and anxious? What do girls without loving fathers do when they're depressed and anxious?
Historically, Faith is absolutely right. Women have long been more likely than men to struggle with or being diagnosed with depression and anxiety. Men are certainly reporting anxiety and depression more now, but to Faith's point, I think that's getting a lot of attention because that's a change, but that doesn't mean that women are thriving or not struggling with depression and anxiety in the same way that they have been for decades.
Are young men and young women are they experiencing vastly different struggles?
Not to me. I mean, I really work with 20-somethings, with men and women as humans, and they all want work and love and friends and family and health and wealth. And those are hard to come by in your early 20s for sure. It takes some years of work to try to put those pieces of life together. So I think you'd be surprised by how similar the struggles are that men and women have. But it's interesting how in the media we tend to separate the groups out. We're like creating a polarization that women do better, men do worse. Mm-hmm. Or if we want men to do better, then women need to sit down for a minute. And I don't think it has.
Well, isn't that exactly what women have said to men, though? Isn't that exactly the deal that women have been offering to men in the name of feminism? I mean, there are only so many jobs to go around in any one workplace, in any one department, in any one office. There are only so many jobs to go around. And we've literally said we need to make room for women. How do you make more room in a finite space, right? Somebody has to go.
To be that way.
Yeah, absolutely. As Meg is saying, like the well-being of men and women is so intrinsically entwined. I think this is something that came up a lot in my reporting, is partly because I think when men are struggling and they are feeling vulnerable and disempowered, that it affects women in terms of them being good partners, but also.
Oh, wow. Men struggling, women most affected. Did we just hear that? Did we just hear that live in effect? Usually you only hear that in memes. Usually you only hear whispers of that. Men struggling, women most affected. She just did it, though. She just did it. We got to take a minute. We got to take a minute, y'all. Shout out to everybody who's supporting the show right now with the PANA Fund. We're going to drop the link to the PANA in a few more minutes. I want to get through this. This clip is only like 15 minutes long. I want to get through this and maybe 1 or 2 short videos after that. Actually, we got to get to the thumbnail title video too. The thumbnail video is a part of the show. We got to get to that, and we're going to drop the link after that. Shout out to my man Joey with the $4.99 for the PANA Fund. I will be dropping that link. Appreciate you guys coming out. Let me give y'all a Hoes Mad.
Hoes mad, hoes mad, hoes mad, hoes mad, hoes mad, hoes mad.
This is about targeting women of color in the United States of America. Don't tell me, because I didn't get a single apology.
Time has expired.
My life was threatened. Thank you.
Hoes mad, hoes mad, hoes mad, hoes mad, hoes mad, hoes mad, hoes mad.
And then also big shout out to my man Little Rock with the 5-ball. Make PANA great again. We are definitely going to make this PANA great again. And my man Gecko Sonic with the 5-ball. They did all the ballot box stuffing and vote rescanning, bro. They were fucking with the vote, bro. They were really seriously fucking with the vote. And then we're supposed to just forget. We're supposed to just pretend and act like we didn't see what we saw. We had to all turn our head and look away. I remember. Shout out to everybody supporting the show, man. Smash that super chat button for me, y'all.
Hulk! Smash! Smash you! Yeah! You make Hulk angry! You not like Hulk angry! Hulk no like fighting girls.
But like I was saying, though, they just did the meme. Men depressed, women most affected.
Better than women need to sit down for a minute. And I don't think it has to be that way.
Yeah, absolutely. As Meg is saying, like the well-being of men and women is so intrinsically entwined. I think this is something that came up a lot in my reporting, is partly because I think when men are struggling and they are feeling vulnerable and disempowered, that it affects women in terms of them being good partners, but also just in terms of these larger cultural and political forces in the moment we're in. Like, I think there's very much a resurgence of misogyny, and part of that is men's kind of vulnerability being exploited and take.
Oh, there is a resurgence in misogyny? No. Where would all this misogyny be coming from? Because, I go around in these Manosphere panels. I listen to even the white Manosphere. I really don't hear that much misogyny. To be fair, there's a lot more misogyny coming from the white Manosphere than the black side.
I hit a woman for the first time in my life, and I'm having fun.
But I want to address this simping allegation. Do I simp for black women? Yes. I love black women. I don't like y'all niggas. This is an easy decision to make. Sorry.
Shout out to Angry Snowman with the fireball. And because of all this, we now know what black jobs are. Oh yeah, we've been losing black jobs by the boatload. Black jobs have been fleeing away from this country for the last 6-7 years now. Joe Biden was the beginning of the end of black jobs. He tried to save it, but you know, nigga went too far. Nigga did too much. Nigga was going too crazy.
Because there are a lot of people in this country who do not like black women, but black women are the base of the Democratic Party.
Taken advantage of by some politicians, influencers, podcasters.
Influencers.
Yes.
Yeah.
You niggas with your podcast and your mics, you faceless bitch ass niggas with your microphone and your laptop out here bringing misogyny back. How dare you podcast no face having ass niggas bring back misogyny?
If you think I'm here to play around with y'all, God damn it, I'm not. All right.
In the moment we're in, like I think there's very much a resurgence of misogyny, and part of that is men's kind of vulnerability being exploited and taken advantage of.
Right. I misogyny because I'm vulnerable, bitch. Can't you see I'm hurting? Can't you tell I need to heal? I only misogyny because I'm vulnerable and I'm hurting. You need that. This is why you have to respect my misogyny, all right? Because I'm a victim. I'm a victim here too. That's why I'm misogyny, because I'm vulnerable and I'm hurting. My pain causes me to misogyny harder.
By some politicians, influencers, podcasters.
Influencers.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think these things are very much tied up, you know, when men feel like, you know, they're like.
Right. I'm not a sexist. This is just the trauma response from dealing with modern women. Modern sexism is a psychological trauma response to dealing with modern women. The more modern women you encounter, the more sexist your disposition becomes, right? It's a natural thing. It's like when one magnet pushes another magnet away. I can't help. This is just nature.
Life isn't panning out as they thought it would, and it, you know, would have been easier for them in the past to be a man and to be a person. They're looking for someone to blame for that, and they have all these voices in their ear telling them that women are at fault. So I think we need to take seriously the idea that women have always been dealing with these structural issues, and also right now they're in a particular moment where the world is really hostile to women.
That makes me think about sort of one of the big dynamics of this.
When did the modern world become hostile to women? If you live in America, if you live in the West, I mean, unless you're in ground zero of like the immigrant invasion, the world isn't really hostile to you. I'm just saying, y'all been having a blast most of my life.
Entire sort of overall phenomenon of comparing the mental health and identity struggles of young men with those of young women. It's no secret that men's mental health gets a lot of attention when it's discussed. Why is that? Why is that men's mental health tends to get so much more attention, not just in media, but also like in society and in these sorts of panels and symposiums that we're discussing? Why do we think that's so much grabbier for people?
I mean, I think it feels like news. I think that because there has been a shift, you know, like I said, I've been working with young adults for 20 years. And I think that in that process, men have been struggling with their mental health, as humans do, as young adults we talked about earlier. But they definitely weren't as comfortable talking about it. Now they're talking about it more. And like you said, Brittany, I think that's for the good.
Oh, men talking about their health problems. It literally makes hoes mad. I can't believe men just talking makes hoes mad.
Hoes mad. Hoes mad. Hoes mad. Hoes mad. Hoes mad. Hoes mad.
This is about targeting women of color in the United States of America. Don't tell me, because I didn't get a single apology.
Time has expired.
My life was threatened. Thank you.
Hoes mad, hoes mad, hoes mad, hoes mad, hoes mad, hoes mad, hoes mad.
And you know what? This stupid thing is actually working. I don't always get these alerts right on time, but I just got one. Shout out to American Man. I see you down there, homie. American Man with the 20 ball. I already know what it's hitting for. I already know what it's hitting for. It costs a lot of money, y'all. Appreciate y'all coming out. Appreciate y'all coming out to see the boy this morning.
It costs a lot of money to bring the real. And with this, I dress myself in cashmere. I dress myself in $100 pleated slacks. I dress myself in alligator shoes. I wear a $15,000 Rolex. I got Mercedes-Benz, Rolls Royce, the biggest house on the biggest deal. Yeah, we don't care. I got Mercedes-Benz, Rolls Royce, the biggest house on the biggest deal. Yeah, we don't care. You're talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, limousine like jet flying, son of a gun, the biggest star of them all. It costs a lot of money to bring the real world champion on location. Only an Arnie and Ricky. We do it better than everybody else. Don't wrap me up. No.
Shout out to American Man with that 20 ball. He says to make sure you are paid for doing your black job well. Listen, man, you gotta make your own black job. You never know. Somebody might take your black job away. That's why you got to know how to make your own black job. Shit gets really, really risky out here. This is why I make my own black job, man. Shout out to American Man with that 20 ball. Appreciate y'all coming out.
I think we just have to be careful where those conversations are leading us, or what we take that to mean. That men are struggling more and therefore women are thriving, or that men are struggling more and it's the fault of women for educational gains they didn't have before, whereas these two things don't have to be linked.
These two things don't have to be linked. Faith, I'd love to hear from you on this as well. Why do you think that men's mental health tends to get so much more attention?
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with Meg that, in some ways we're just really inured to women suffering. We're used to it. It doesn't grab us because it's, a very old problem. I also think.
Oh my God. Nobody likes to see women cry. All right. I wish you guys would stop pretending like anybody really wants to see women cry. Most of you niggas don't have the balls to watch a woman cry and keep a straight face, all right? I dare you. I challenge you to watch a woman cry and feel nothing.
Sometimes women suffering and men suffering gets expressed in different ways. And I think there's a lot of social problems that probably have roots in men having a hard time, violence and social strife. But I think a lot of times women suffering, it's quiet because women have had to suffer quietly for a very long time.
And we've actually, in the sort of mental health literature,
the whole conception of feminism was for women to not suffer quietly. Women have not suffered quietly ever since feminism became a thing. That was the entire point of the social vehicle that we call feminism, is so that women could not suffer quietly. Maybe once upon a time, remember that joke about the two black eyes? Maybe that was real. Maybe that was real. You told her twice and she couldn't say nothing after that because she didn't want to get punched in the mouth. Maybe that was real, but no more.
We've long talked about women tend toward what we call internalizing disorders. So depression and anxiety, men are more externalizers. So they're more likely to act out violently.
That's a great pushback, Pastor. Let me know in the chat. Who do you guys think suffers quietly? I mean, who do you think suffers more quietly? Put a 1 for men, put a 2 for women. You know what? I should make a poll. I need to make this a poll. Who suffers quieter, men or women? Because now we're making it a competition. We're about to have the suffering Olympics, y'all. We're gonna have the suffering Olympics. I need to know who really suffers quietly in this game. I want to know who actually does the suffering in America. Damn it, now I gotta go in and log in and Why I can't make the poll right here? I feel like you guys are just typing ones because you're men. But anyway, you could be biased. You never know.
Or abuse substances or have sort of the louder forms of, attentional issues. So there's long been that difference between internalizing and externalizing. And I think as men are struggling more, we're seeing more and more of that externalizing.
Yeah.
One person I talked to had worked in the past in medical sociology, and she mentioned a phrase that she had heard, which is men die quicker, but women are sicker, which is meant to just capture this idea that, women suffer from many.
Men die quicker, but women are sicker. That actually doesn't make women look more sympathetic. That makes women look like horrible creatures. Maybe that's the reason why the men die quicker, because you bitches are sick. Y'all are literally killing us off. Is that what's happening? Y'all are literally killing us off. Is that why men die quicker, because women are sicker? I mean, help me out here. Help me out here. Is that true? Could that be true? Could it be true? Are you women the reason that men die quicker? And I'm not even going to go all the way there, because you know why? Because, some of us are really dumb. I won't even deny that some of us are genuinely, legitimately, really stupid. But women are sicker than men. And I don't even know how to feel about that. Like, ew. Men die quicker, but women are sicker. Like, ew. What's going on with that? What y'all got going on inside of y'all? How are women sicker like that? What do you even mean? What does that mean?
Chronic illnesses at higher rates than men, but they tend to sort of soldier on quietly with their pain. And it's something that doctors have to be aware of because this presents differently.
Coming up,
college, healthcare, childcare, home ownership. Those are the 4 biggies that I think leave young women and young men feeling like, what can I do? That these are rising way faster than I can keep up with them.
Stay with us.
This message comes from Wise, the app for international people using money around the globe. You can send, spend, and receive in up to 40 currencies with only a few simple taps. Be smart. Get Wise. Download the Wise app today or visit wise.com. T's and C's apply.
Me a lot when a sort of tension. Gosh, okay. So that specific line spoke out to me a lot when I was reading the piece. Men die quicker, but women are sicker. It makes me think about there is a sort of tension in who is expected to take up for whom or take care of whom or suffer more or suffer longer. I wonder, like, as you said in your piece, Faith, to quote you, perhaps society, is simply more tolerant of women suffering.
Hey, real quick, shout out to my man Bluff City with the 5 ball. They want men to shut up and provide, just like Laura Ingraham told LeBron to shut up and dribble. No, big deal. I mean, big facts, though. Isn't that really the nature of the male burden, though? No matter what's happening, ultimately, you have to shut up and dribble. Like, that is the burden of man. No matter what, you have to shut up and dribble. And as men, we low-key just, we carry that burden, Until we crash out, we're going to shut up and dribble.
Can a nigga live? Can a nigga live? Please.
That's the male burden. Shut up and dribble. You are a thing to be used, not a person to be heard. That's the majority of the male experience. It is what it is. Shout out to Mr. O with the info with the 5 ball, pan attacks, evil bees rise up, FD signifier and patriarchy. I got you straight away, my brother.
Good women are dead. Evil bitches, rise up!
But I want to address this simping allegation. Do I simp for black women? Yes. I love black women. I don't like y'all niggas. This is an easy decision to make. Sorry.
And then also shout out to my man Jesse with the 5 ball for the Panda Fund.
I want what you white hoes get, and I want it today, ASAP, not tomorrow.
because women always have suffered. What would it take to change society's attitudes toward women in this way?
Oh, it's a tough question. And, I'm not sure exactly what can make the narrative change that we need. But I do think that, part of the reason for this backlash to feminism that we've seen, a backlash to women's progress, does have to do with, a lot of men struggling in very real ways that we can also take seriously. And as we're saying, affect women too. So there are economic issues that are tied up in all of this, like the lack of affordable housing, things like that. When I was at this symposium on young men, I really wanted to hear more about those policy solutions, addressing the structural issues that are affecting both young men and young women. But there was very little of that. And I kept hearing about connecting men back to traditional sources of meaning and discipline. Like there were a lot of representatives from fraternities, churches, the military. And, it's not that those things are necessarily inherently bad, but I felt like we were kind of looking backward at, what did we used to have that gave men meaning and purpose? And I think, men and women would probably benefit from sort of like being creative and looking ahead and thinking about, what different ways masculinity could look like. And I'm still.
So you want to create a new masculinity, or do you want to look back and figure out where we went wrong? Like you can't completely have it both ways there. Like I understand things have to be modern, and we all live in the modern, urbanized, industrial world and whatnot, but we can only stray so far from the mean, which is the whole point I was making to like Angry Man the other day, attempting to redefine like the white man's patriarchy. The nigga basically told me he wanted to recreate a kinder, gentler patriarchy. And I'm just like, bruh, don't let them make you gay. Like, I'm just hearing like, how do you fix your face to try to sell a kinder, gentler patriarchy?
On young men, I really wanted to hear more about those policy solutions, addressing the structural issues that are affecting both young men and young women. But there was very little of that. And I kept hearing about connecting men back to traditional sources of meaning and discipline. Like there were a lot of representatives from fraternities.
Yeah, traditional sources of meaning and discipline, right? Because they work. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I thought that was a thing that we all agreed upon once upon a time. And then we started letting girls talk.
Churches, the military. And, it's not that those things are necessarily inherently bad, but I felt like we were kind of looking backward at, what did we used to have that gave men meaning and purpose? And I think, men and women would probably benefit from sort of like being creative and looking ahead and thinking about, what different ways masculinity could look like. And I'm still kind of hungering for that.
I really am too. And if you think about the items that have risen at rates that really outstrip inflation, so college, healthcare, childcare, home ownership, those are the four biggies that I think leave young women and young men feeling like, what can I do? That these are rising way faster than I can keep up with them. And I would love to hear more conversations about how those now feel like out of reach for young adults. If I'm not going to be able to start a family, I'm not going to be able to have kids, I'm not going to be able to have a home, I've got all this college debt, I can't pay for healthcare, that I really think that's what's underneath a lot of the despair that men are feeling and the desperation that women are feeling. And I don't know that panels are going to, find their way out of that.
Yeah, I mean, what we're talking about to a certain degree reminds me of a conversation that we had maybe a year or two ago with Dr. Jessica Calarco. She's somebody who has done a lot of writing and researching about sort of America's social safety net, or what some people feel is a lack thereof, and how women, very often mothers, are the people who are sort of holding the social safety net together. And a lot of what she talks about is how many decisions that people have.
Women are not holding the social safety net together. Women are destroying the social safety net by destroying the nuclear family network. I don't think they quite grasp the reality of the two. The very concept of the social safety net was born out of a world where the men had roles and positions and responsibility and respectability in the family and in the community around these families. We've obliterated that.
Maybe a year or two ago with Dr. Jessica Calarco. She's somebody who has done a lot of writing and researching about sort of America's social safety net, or what some people feel is a lack thereof, and how women, very often mothers, are the people who are sort of holding the social safety net together. And a lot of what she talks about is is how many decisions that people have to make in life involve risk. I felt this risk in my 20s when I was like stressed out about money and student loan debt and paying rent and, getting my career off the ground, finding a career. And I feel this risk now at 38 as someone who's not a homeowner and would like to be, as someone who's, thinking about 2 sets of aging parents, as someone who knows that my decisions now will have consequences down the line. And I think a lot of that has to do with, to your point, Meg, we got a lot of panels and maybe perhaps not as much of that structural safety net as people might want in order to feel supported and feel safe.
Yeah, Black America right now at this point, I'm going to go out on a limb and say we listen to more panels than we do family. Black America has more panel conversations than they do family discussions. Prove me wrong. I'm about to pull up my table and at an HBCU like Myron Gaines and say Black America has more online panel discussions than we have actual family conversations. Prove me wrong. Your goddamn social safety net.
With, to your point, Meg, we got a lot of panels and maybe perhaps not as much of that structural safety net as people might want in order to feel supported and feel safer and freer perhaps in their ability to make decisions for themselves.
Young women and young men are both feeling more pessimistic than maybe they've ever felt before. And that's not helping anyone's mental health.
Man, oh man. My heart goes out to all the young women struggling out there, girls. I see you. I hear you. I was you. But
ooh, my heart goes out to you too, girls. All the struggling young women. I couldn't even say that without laughing.
Faith, Meg, thank you both so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
That was Faith Hill, staff writer for The Atlantic, and Meg.
The young women are struggling out there right now. They had to pull up a brief panel because everybody's on panels now. Had to do a quick online NPR panel discussion about it. But let's take a little bit of a closer look at these young women struggling, and then we're going to open up the floor for some discussion. But the struggle is real. I don't even know how you find yourself in this position. As a man, I've been broke, but that's only because I didn't have a job. I was never struggling this bad with a job. She has 3.
I don't want to be alive anymore. And I understand that that's a very, very heavy sentence.
Yeah, you can't just start out your TikTok testimonial saying that. Now we got to go do a wellness check on you. Let me go open up a TikTok page real quick and do a wellness check on this broad. Let me see if she posted after this video. Because shit looking crazy. Shit looking real crazy right now. You don't just start out your video like that. Hi, my name is Simone. Let me see if I can pull that up real quick fast. Let me see if she's on the tickety-tockety here. Nah, okay, that's only on Instagram, maybe. All right.
I don't want to be alive anymore. And I understand that that's a very, very heavy sentence. And no, that does not mean that I'm trying to end my life. That does not mean that I have any plans or intentions to end my life, because I don't. But I would be lying to myself by saying that I want to be alive, because I don't. Being alive is expensive, and I feel like I'm finding myself questioning often, what is the point of being alive if I can't afford to live, period. I got the red notice on my door yesterday, and
ooh, shit. She got that red letter.
And I feel like I'm finding myself questioning often, what is the point of being alive if I can't afford to live, period. I got the red notice on my door yesterday, and it has really brought forward this, I don't know, this like sense of heaviness, this breakdown that I've been having all week.
Hold on. Andre says she's holding us emotionally hostage. Andre, do you feel like a hostage right now? Are you feeling trapped by the weight of her emotions right now? This nigga a victim, y'all. Everybody send Andre some hope and prayers. Send Andre some support right now. This nigga a victim.
And it has really brought forward this, I don't know, this like sense of heaviness, this breakdown that I've been having all week, especially because this weekend is one of my busiest weeks for work. I go to two out of my 3 jobs today.
How you got 3 whole jobs and you getting red letters? Like, what's even the point of having 3 jobs and you getting red letters, man? Come on now. People get mad at me when I say skill issue. People really be looking at me crazy when I say skill issue. I be like, hey, man, that's a skill issue. You're just going to have to suffer till you get it right. They be like, wow. Like, what? What did I do?
Not today, but this weekend. I work overnight today, and then tomorrow morning I'll come home, get a couple hours of sleep. I'll go to one of my jobs, and then once I clock out of that job, I'll be going straight to another overnight shift. And then on Monday and Tuesday, I'm just working all morning.
So let me see if my math is mathing. 3 jobs, no man, and a red letter eviction notice, huh?
If you don't have a man, you ain't nothing.
I know that makes no fucking sense. Or like, I'm sorry if that's like confusing as fuck. It's just like a whole lot of work and a whole lot of hours. And like, I hardly want to go because it's like so clear.
Oh my God, this thing be muting me up by accident. This stupid mute button. Now I was saying that look, I can tell she has a baby. If we were watching this video while she was like in her car, you know how they do these car testimonial things? If she was doing this video from her Nissan Altima, we all know you got an Altima. You got an Altima. You might have a Benz depending on how long you've been working, but the nurses get Altimas so they can drive a Benz typically. And if she was doing this from the driver's seat of her Altima, we could tell there would be a baby seat in the back seat. Right now, I'm just going on my gut intuition. That level of misery and bitterness typically comes after you got stuck with a baby. You got a baby, no man, and a broke down Altima.
That like I can't even obviously like cover my fucking necessities, and I don't even know what to say like right now at this stage. Somehow by Monday I gotta pay $1,918.80.
$1,900.
And it would take a literal miracle for me to get that.
So you haven't been paying your rent, which if your rent is only $1,900 in debt, your rent's not that bad probably, because that's not 1 month's rent. You don't get a red letter after just a month. That's at least 3 months, typically 3 months. They might have even given you an extension of some kind, but you don't get the red letter for 1 month. So if you only got $1,900 of debt accumulated after months of not paying, your rent's not even that high. You probably got Section 8.
And I like suppose that like, and the part about it that like really like blows my mind is that like I live in one of the poorest states in the country.
You live in one of the poorest houses in the poorest state in the country. It's not just the poorest state, it's the poorest house
I suppose
too.
that like, and the part about it that like really like blows my mind is that, like, I live in one of the poorest states in the country. I live in one of the poorest states in America. And in one of the poorest states in the US, the cost of living somehow is unsustainable working 3 jobs. As I've said before, none of my jobs provide me benefits. I am considered a part-timer that's put on schedule due to understaffing. I'm being worked to death. I don't get access to health insurance. I don't get access to PTO. I don't get access to any benefits. I just show up because otherwise, like, if I don't, then
Damn. Look like you should have went to CDL school instead of nursing school.
I make nothing. But that seems pointless because I show up every day and I'm still... I know everybody is one missed paycheck from being homeless. I don't even know if I'm, like, missing... Like, I cannot wrap my mind around how I work 3 jobs. I work 6 days a week primarily, and I still can't cover my necessities. Like, as I'm talking about this, like, the people around me are like, it's not your fault, it's not your fault, it's the system, it's the system.
Bullshit. I don't like the system, but I will not blame the system for your lack of mismanagement. All these jobs and you're not even paying your rent.
I can't bring that to my property manager and say, it's the system that's fucking me up. Sorry, I work 3 jobs. I literally can't. Like, they don't give a shit about that, right? And I'm just... I don't know, man. I'm just gonna finish getting dressed and get ready for work.
Yeah. Yeah, that's about all you should do. All this time going to work and you can't keep up with the simple rent. And like I said, the numbers kind of tell me that your rent ain't that high. It's not like you're paying $2,000 to live in a parking lot in New York City, all right? Because that's about what you get in New York City. You get a parking lot for $2,000. You get a parking space, you know, and that's about all the square footage you can pay for. I know you're not even dealing with that. You got like Mississippi or Arkansas numbers right now. You're dealing with the poorest state in the country, Mississippi, Arkansas, Alabama, maybe. One of those 3 states, I can't tell which, Mississippi, Arkansas, Alabama, one of those 3 states, you're not paying a great amount of money in rent. You're just not doing it right. But I've been teasing the link in the chat for a while now. The link is actually in the chat. If you guys want to come up, talk about the Manosphere being responsible for all these women going through it, hit that like button, guys.
I have decided that the annual to biannual rattling of Carolyn Bessette's Kennedy's casket is a symptom of a female loneliness epidemic, because it's not just her, it's not just CBK, it's not about the pasta la, but it's the tinned fish, it's the waking up at 5 a.m. for lip balm drops, it's the park sweater of it all. You need to talk to a friend. You're missing community. You want to be a part of something. And I get that. We all do it. When I see, cooking trends that I'm like, well, I should do that too. I've never thought about dumpling lasagna once in my life. I don't care. Like, I just want to be a part of something. So it's like every time you have that urge to go buy 15 white cotton shirts and get a hot Democratic boyfriend that's going to kill you in a plane crash,
these bras just say crazy things. They don't even understand their loneliness makes them crazy. They just say the most bizarre things. What is she even talking about? Online girl culture is like amazing to watch.
They're never going to admit this because it'll go against the sisterhood. It'll go against their entire narrative that they're trying to push and make people believe that they're okay with being alone. When we all know that y'all not okay with that, because if you was, you would have no need to go to a singles event. You wouldn't even care about a singles event because you would be too happy with your peaceful single life. You'd be too happy with that. But they're not going to get on here and admit that they're tired of having to work 2 or 3 jobs just to still not be able to pay your rent. I saw a girl on my timeline just the other day talking about how she ready to take herself up off the earth.
Oh, you saw that same girl too? I was just looking at that girl. I'm telling you, that's her fault. That's all her fault. Somewhere in there is a series of skill issues, and she needs to account for that.
That they're tired of having to work 2 or 3 jobs just to still not be able to pay your rent. I saw a girl on my timeline just the other day talking about how she ready to take herself up off the earth because she working 3 jobs and still can't pay her rent and about to get evicted. She showed the eviction notice and everything. Like I said in the other video, it's an influx of women living in tents, cars, vans, trying to pass it off as car life. No, y'all are just broke and can't afford to live and ain't got sense enough to just get with a man. See, they're never going to admit this because it'll go against the sisterhood. It'll go against their entire narrative that
there's going to be nothing like the female loneliness epidemic that you're going to see with this generation of women when they hit the 40s. It's going to be out of control.
Many years from now, there is going to be a quiet crisis, loneliness in women, especially. Not because women failed, not because they weren't capable or intelligent, but because they were handed a script or a blueprint that left out the consequences. Be self-sufficient, put your career first. You don't need a man. So they followed it. They pushed love down the line. They delayed the family. They treated commitment like something that could always wait until it didn't. Fast forward a few years later. You're older, no partner, no children, no legacy, just some noise to fill that silence.
There's going to be nothing like the female loneliness.
So I've been seeing some videos on my For You page, and I think that it is finally time to discuss the female loneliness epidemic. Because I know the men have had their own thing, and I'm not here to talk about that. I'm not a man, right? But I will say that the men are more built for it than us. We are not built for this shit, ladies. We don't know how to be alone. These men have been bottling up their emotions and not sharing them with anybody since they were 6, 7, 8 years old. Some of us have never done that. We've always had someone to talk to, a friend, a family member, a significant other, something. And it seems like in 2025, the girls are running out of options because the dating market is terrible. Y'all are literally making fun of girls that are in happy, healthy relationships, saying that having a boyfriend is embarrassing. Miserables. And then y'all also don't have any friends because anytime somebody reposts something that you disagree with, oh, that's how you feel about immigration policy, you're not my friend anymore. Now y'all don't have any fucking friends. Like it's not gonna end well if your requirement for somebody to have a relationship with you is that they have to be on the exact same page with you 100% of the time. No one is. We are all people with our own thoughts, feelings, emotions, and ideas. And if you don't respect that in another person, then of course you're going to be by yourself. There's no one else that's going to fit that mold. I'll have to learn healthy communication skills. You have to learn healthy relationship skills. Go to therapy if you need to, do something. But if you are sitting at home right now and you don't have 5 friends that you can call, no man, and your family members just don't get you, I promise the only common denominator in all of those scenarios is. So I've been seeing some videos on my
You go to school, you get a good job, you don't have to depend on nobody. Don't depend on no man or nobody else. That's what we're taught.
I just want to be somebody girlfriend, somebody wife, somebody something.
Whoa. Whoa,
I
that was a
deserve to
jump
fucking be
scare.
happy too.
Whoa, that was the hell of a jump scare. Damn, that shit got me. Whoa.
I'm awake now. Jesus.
I apologize greatly for what I just put you all through. It was not
Well,
my
thank you,
intent
sir.
to harm you such.
Let me catch my breath. I mean, come on. Oh my God.
I hurt myself trying to hurt somebody else. You ever do that?
That's called collateral damage.
Well, I got the proverbial panel blunt rolled and Lizzie, I want to hit this to take the pain away.
Yeah, we need to smoke the peace pipe after that one. Jesus Christ. Anyway, welcome to the show, man. So the question of on the table right now, the question on the table is: the manosphere the reason why young women are struggling?
Yes and no.
Oh, it's definitely no.
All right, we got a yes and no. Let me hear you first, Mr. O, and then Bandit. You can follow up.
Go ahead, Bandit.
We're watching the women that no one wants, and then they're crying They're playing the crocodile tears to have someone bail them out. Like, this is the classic. You have no friends. You pissed off the men. Men don't want you now, and then you're crying wolf, saying, I'm an insufferable bee. No one wants me. But yet again, if a guy tried to bail you out, you would treat that man like a piece of shit. So where do we went? Isn't this just a giant? You get what you deserve at this point.
You know what's interesting, Bandit? You said these are the women that no one wants. Isn't that a huge criticism? That's the charge about the men in the Manosphere, right? These are the men that no one wants. Some woman hurt you, yada, yada, yada. Where on the Manosphere side, for the men that no one wants, you know, the universal advice to them is improve, nigga, do better. But when it comes to the women that no one wants, we just have to listen and help and offer them solutions and programs.
That's because they have a thing called an accountability gap that no one wants to talk about. Like, I didn't see any of these videos like, I need to do better. It's just someone bail me out. That's there. Even when like push comes to shove and they're against the wall, they have one move to make, and they still can't take accountability. I mean, it's just. I mean, we talk about this all the time.
This is why you're supposed to grow old with someone, because you don't wait until you're old and ugly to decide you want to be with somebody. You're supposed to start out when you're young and you're both attractive and get old and ugly together at the same time. That way you respect each other. I mean, fuck.
Man, fuck that bullshit, man. Yo, we still on this simping shit, Snow, man.
There's nothing simping about it. Not everybody's going to be a polygamist like you, Mister.
Oh my God, I didn't start.
They want me. Late. I ain't say that.
One thing. Let's try to let's try to hold off on the F-bombs and all the associated stuff.
Right,
but other than that, have at it.
Okay, so here's the thing. Like, man, here's the reason. Like, women are just like finally realizing what the internet and feminism is backed up on them, because the one thing, you know, the PUAs and red pill guys did, and we're not talking about Negroes because they just get everything backwards, is that men are finally realizing their value, because the internet, besides opening feminism up to the world, it opened men's options up into the world. You don't have to get married to a chick who's going to get fat, ugly, sloppy, turn into a feminist when they get old. You know, guys realizing they could wait till they're 35, 36, and they could get, you know, they can travel the world and get somebody who'll shut up and listen. They ain't got to deal with no woman who's watching MSNBC or out there protesting ICE or, you know, doing all this crazy shit. You just go where you know where your options are plentiful, and there's spots even here in the U.S. where that's available.
Look,
men are just realizing they don't have to deal with it.
Trey, I don't disagree with what you're saying, but what when I'm saying get old and ugly, I'm not talking about people getting fat and whatever and whatnot. I mean, it's an inevitability that as you get older, your looks are going to decrease.
Yeah,
and to sit and wait until you're in your 40s, for women to sit and wait until they're in their 40s and 50s when their looks have decreased, and expect people to look at them at like they did when they were in their 20s is crazy. That's why you're supposed to grow old with someone.
That's
like Maya and Tracy Ellis Ross right now.
Tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me if I'm wrong. That what you're describing sounds like, quote, the wall as in male terminology. Correct. And then in female terminology, you hear women describe maybe after somewhere in their 30s, the men just aren't coming at them as hard as they used to. And then one day it almost stops totally.
Yeah, but I mean,
so the point is for women is to lock in with a man before all that shit stops totally.
But let's look at this another way. If this was not a woman having that video about potentially offing herself, what happens if that was a man? Would there be any sympathy for her? So this is where like you shut these men out, and then you're asking for men to come back and save you, yet you've been treating men like crap for more than 2 decades. I mean, at one point, isn't this like the rooster coming to the coop at this point? Like, aren't people understanding that like if the genders were flipped, we wouldn't care? And knowing that now, why would I bail you out?
Right. Exactly. You know what's funny? Bringing that up too, as far as like, what if it was a man? A man wouldn't make the video. A man would figure out how to solve the problem and get himself up out of here. Like,
or he would just shoot himself in the head and be done with it.
That's what I mean. He would figure out how to actually do it and do it. Like whatever his method of exit is, he would figure it out and go. Some dudes get elaborate. Some dudes just put a shotgun in their mouth. However you want to go, he'd have figured it out and not made a video.
They call that the Smith and Wesson life insurance plan.
Right, and I think the finality of male decision making is almost what women are up against in their own way, which is like women have been talking about how awful men are and how they don't need men, decenter men, all that stuff, but I don't think they really meant it. When men make decisions, we more often than not mean it. And so when men say like, you know what, I think I'm gonna chill for a minute. I'm gonna cool off on chasing women. I'm gonna cool off on giving women attention and excess reward for all their behavior. I think a lot of men maybe mean it, and women are kind of like, ew, what's this?
I think I think women need to be lonely in order for them to change. I think this is a good thing.
Yes.
But who cares? But here's the problem is like what do we care? What do we care what women do?
Being lonely is one thing, but you have to add the shame to it.
And what the hell do you mean? What do we care what women do? What women do affects everything around us.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
Let me get this for a second. We're talking about the whole order of like society and culture. But go ahead, Trent.
Yes, and that's the problem. Is that care what women think, women do, what they're doing is why the society y'all are talking about is the way it is now. You got a bunch of simps in power who decided, oh man, let's make things better for women. Let's make women equal. Let's do all this for women. And those same simps aren't the men that women want to be with. They tried to change society so that women would want the bottom 90% of guys or whatever, 80% of guys. It didn't work. It just made women's like have this delusions of grandeur, how society works, and think they could live in a man's world. And now, as Bandit said, the chickens are coming home to roost.
I think you're overcharging, Trey. When you say don't care what women think, like I refuse to believe. Well, let me not say that. Are you trying to tell me that when you have the woman in your house that you live with, you don't care what she does or thinks, as in anything she says or does is just acceptable? I refuse to believe that.
No, that's not the case.
When you say you don't care what women think, you're assuming that we're taking that government position that you just described, like we want to make it better. No, we care what women think in the sense of don't go out of your way to screw up the program that we're trying to set up.
Here's the thing, bro. You got to be a benevolent dictator when it comes to women. Of course, man. If you got a woman, like I say, you got to take her opinion into consideration. But at the end of the day, you got to be able to stomp it out if it's stupid, or be like, you know what? No, we ain't doing that in the nicest way possible. Or sometimes you just got to be a dick and be like, no. Like, yeah, it's cool your opinion and all, but at the end of the day, as a man, you got to lead the show. And when you don't, they don't respect you, bro. If you give, they want to give you their opinion, but they want you to tell them, fuck no.
Well, that's not being a benevolent dictator, though, Trey. I mean,
yeah, bro, that's benevolence. The definition of benevolence.
The benevolence comes in other ways. It's not just a one-shot judgment thing. It's a totality. There's a whole system in play here.
What? So, going back to the video that I emailed you with the liberal Becky, she in that video when she was just lambasting, talking about we don't need y'all, y'all just mad because we make y'all do all these things and we could just make our own money in it. I'm still trying to figure out how two things are possible. How y'all have this wage gap? How you saying that men are doing all these things and y'all can't do anything, but yet y'all running circles around niggas 24/7, 365, including the extra day for leap years? I'm trying to figure that out.
Well, and this is another thing when Trey says don't listen to women, don't take them serious. Like that's where that comes in too. Is like, they say a lot of things, but if you actually kind of like throw that up against the wall of reality, a lot of it don't stick. And so, you have to be careful and take a lot of things with a grain of salt. So it's like we're hearing a lot of female projection, but they're just like They're just not really accurate in how they describe the world.
So
now the problem is, though, a lot of the world that we kind of have to inhabit in terms of like policies and regulation also acts as if like women are they're believing another projection, which is women are suffering and women are struggling.
That's
and
why
so either they're suffering
too.
or they're struggling or they're crushing it. And they don't need no man. It's like these are like constant dualities that we just keep living in at the same time.
That's what I was about to get to. Like when you said early in your stream, I'm glad you have brought this up too. The meme have came alive. Basically, men are suffering, but women most affected. That's been the narrative through this whole fake male loneliness narrative bullcrap they've been trying to pull for the last decade or so. Like if the dudes, especially the men that they don't want, right? You know, the dweebs, the squares, the lames, the neckbeards, you know what I'm saying, the gooners, all these tax-paying losers.
Those men are suffering because they choose to. Any man out here that's like crying over women, oh man, I can't get a woman, all this is just a little bitch. They're suffering.
I agree with that. I do agree with that.
They're choosing their own suffering. At the end of the day, if you're that lonely, there's plenty of fat white women and fat Mexican women down here in Texas that would take a dude just like that.
It's not even that. Do you have like $100? Let's be honest.
I mean, I do agree with that. If you're suffering because you can't get any pussy, it's because you're a loser and it's your own fault. Plain and simple, because it ain't hard to get.
I mean, it's
no, there ain't. It ain't hard to get.
I was gonna say no pushback. Let me move on to the next clip.
It's genuinely gotten to a point of loneliness that I have no one else to talk to but ChatGPT. I have no one else to talk to but ChatGPT. Like, I low-key think I need like a therapist type of friend vibe, but like.
ChatGPT therapy is going to be the next thing that cooked these young broads, man.
Well,
if you don't have a man, you ain't nothing.
Bro, you just gave
see
me
that lady right there grew old and ugly with another man.
She did, and one of them passed, and she's still here to give the wisdom. Bandit, you're about to say something.
I was just gonna say, this is the same type of girl that would say, if men had sex robots, that's such a bad thing. When she would be the first one to have a ChatGPT manservant at her house.
Right.
So it's like,
bro, you just gave that's a business idea, man. I'm about to go invent me a ChatGPT, go on Claude right now.
Hey,
make me an AI boyfriends.
As long as I get a cut of that deal, I'm good. So
listen, they're gonna give you a Tesla bot with an AI program to love you and only you.
Yeah, we'll call him Steve.
Genuinely, like,
you know this is
the that I don't really want to deal with in the moment. I just go to ChatGPT and ask that bitch for help because who really can help me? And like sometimes she'd be eating with the advice, but other times it'd be like, girl, like why would you tell me to do this? Like why would you tell me to do that? But then there'll be other times like I'll put a text that someone sent me into ChatGPT to help me like analyze it, and like she'd be clocking tea, like she'd be reading shit that you would not like necessarily think about like while reading a text. Like she'll like pick up on the shade, she'll pick up on everything, bro. Like she's actually like I don't know. My ChatGPT's a girl. I don't know about y'all, but
do you guys find it weird that she can't look into the camera straight? Like her eyes are darting all over the place, but you can't look straight. Like
AI doesn't require eye contact.
It gives me school pew pew kind of vibes.
Not that too, but also that's
men.
a sign of autism as well.
Man, that's 1,000 clocks there, fellas. They're gone.
What the hell is she gonna do when she tells AI that she wants to off herself and it just says do it?
Nah, she's a woman though. They'll give her that crisis
I'm about
line.
to say that. That's
already happened with a guy. Guy tried to
that's
get
a man.
Got an AI waifu, and it said commit suicide, and he did. It's already happened.
Yep, one less. Oh well.
I'm getting on here to just share my thoughts about being 30-something and not having a boyfriend, not having kids, and not being married. I have been so sad. So depressed.
Oh, don't cry.
I thought that I would have cry.
Listen, when I said this before, after a particular age, she's 30-something, who knows what, I'm gonna say under 35 still. After a particular age in life, this is more with women than men, like the not having kids things, it's a little bit more of a negative than a positive, honestly, because having children is such a natural part of the life cycle that for a lot of women, when they cross that 30 bridge and they don't have kids, something about them, something starts to break internally.
So the thing is this, bro, is that these women, and this is the problem with feminism, from age what, excuse my, this, but it's real. From age 16 all the way up until 26, they had thousands of dudes lining up, bro, bringing them flowers.
Yep.
But feminism told them, keep passing, pass next. You can do better. You can do better. You can party. You can do all this. And now, hey, this is what she gets. She chose her bed.
And Trey, earlier when I was playing the NPR thing, they said literally all the lifetime emotional trauma starts to accumulate in your young 20s. And here she is now. She done coasted out of the 20s with all this trauma, all these dick memories, and no children. At least you could have children and dick memories, but all you got is trauma and dick memories.
What do
y'all like the snowman's point? If I could say the snowman's point, for the women, that's a great option. At 16, if she knows her high school sweetheart who's 17, he's a senior, she's a junior, and they can make that work, and she probably had a chance with the nice guy. That's perfect. That's a perfect world. But we know what she wanted. She probably wanted to go to Howard, do a sorority, get some traveling, girls trips in. Then she got fat.
It's more than that, I think we just coined a new phrase here. We just coined a new term. I gotta find a way to make this. We gotta spam this till it gets into the Urban Dictionary. Demeries, y'all. They have dick memories. Think about it. Like if you're 30 something, you haven't really had serious romantic relationships, definitely no kids, right? At this point, all you really have to like measure your life by are memories of dick.
Can we add a little to that? Would that also mean you would have the ghost of Christmas dick past?
Yep. Every dick leaves a ghost, bro. Have you not heard about chimerism? Yep. Every dick stays with you forever.
Yep. Soul ties, nigga. Soul ties.
But
haunted by dick memories and no children is a miserable life.
But to add real quick, to add what he was saying before, this also would be the same type of girl that would marry her high school sweetheart and then have the grass is always greener.
Yep.
I didn't give it up when I was in college, and I have my itch to try the market again and ruin her life.
No, imagine what's even worse is she's probably some of the same group of women that's probably had a couple abortions so she could further her career and her agenda, and actually aborted the possibility to have kids and now can't find someone to have kids with, and she has that weighing on her brain.
So she's haunted by ghost dick and ghost babies.
Yes.
Damn.
Yes.
But here's one of the things we've noticed is, the whole choose somebody your own age movement that these women, they don't want older guys dating younger. The reason is because the 55, 60-year-old dudes that would have gave her a shot now are like, man, they're in freaking Philippines right now.
That's rough. There was a guy who would have saved you, but he just left for the Philippines.
Or no, even worse, the baby boomer woman had deleted the husband that she was supposed to have back in 1965, 66. All them niggas gone. Y'all deleted y'all husband.
Aged or in a relationship at the minimum, and I'm not. And I'm getting older and I'm getting scared. Am I gonna be on here one day coming to terms that I'm just gonna be single? Like it doesn't even.
I don't think men have the emotional breakdown when they get to that realization. Like I played a clip a couple of shows ago, and I called it like 1950s incel core, when it was that guy. He was like a chubby, overweight, like a chubby kind of overweight Italian guy. Who?
Marty. Yeah,
Marty. And he was sitting there with his mom, and his mom's like, hey, go down to the Blue Palace and go talk to the girls and dance. He's like, Mom, the girls don't love me. Whatever the girls want, I don't got. And that's all right. I'm just going to live my life. And so I think guys, they get to that point. They're like, you know what? I'm just going to learn to fish, right? I'm going to learn how to whittle. I'm going to carve statues. I'm going to hunt. I'm going to spend my time in the woods. Like guys resolve themselves to a particular lifestyle. Even if it's a shitty lifestyle, where you just sit in the house and goon until you die. Like guys just resolve to whatever lane they like for themselves, where I don't know that men have that emotional collapse where like, I'm 30 and no man wants to make a baby with me. Guys are like, hey, you know what? Sucks to be me. Gotta go to work in the morning. Like, I don't think guys do that.
Bro, they really think that we have their so-called emotional disposition. Like when we are faced with a crisis, we just, you know what I'm saying, post. Ironically, they want us to fold under pressure so they could be our so-called motivational I guess motivational speaker and something like that, saying you can do it, so they feel like they contribute to the so-called success of you. I'm starting to see that. And since they're not there with you building it up the thing, because they don't want to be that do 50-50, Lord forbid. Once they do see you be successful, and Lord forbid you small enough to be like, Shawty, you want to swim with me in the gym? What you bring to the table? They be like, how dare you?
Hey, all I got to say is wait till this fine young black woman finds out what a black job is. It's going to be even worse.
I still don't know what is a black job compared to a white job. I came in late on that one.
Well, they're government agents. I mean, that the majority of women that lost their job worked in the government sector, and the majority of women in the country are government agent by proxy. So that was a black job.
Well,
Gotcha.
even before that, Bandit, Trump was running, and he was saying how the illegals are basically taking black jobs first, and all the black media was like, "Well, what's a black job?" And then now it's like,
and then overnight, about 30,000 black women lost their jobs, and all of a sudden, everybody knew what black jobs were. All of a sudden,
gotcha. Okay, that makes complete sense. Now I get it.
Sound right. I feel like I'm in such denial sometimes. Like, no, there's no way that I'm not going to be a wife. There's no way I'm not going to be a mom. And I'm like, am I being delusional, or am I just having faith, or am I crazy? Each day I struggle with this so much, and I just don't know what to tell myself. Do I tell myself, don't worry, you'll be fine. Like, you're going to find somebody tomorrow or next year and be able to have kids before it's too late? Or do I tell myself, maybe you should figure out how to live life as a single woman and be happy?
I was gonna be
That's all I have for today.
I thought there's gonna be the lit rich auntie. What happens to all that? They was gonna be the lit rich auntie living in the burbs, just giving out wisdom over sweet tea on the porch and ish like that. But what happened to that?
Well, the thing is this, man, that they're in debt now. That credit card spending, they can't control the credit card spending in the girls' trips to Uganda, or Jamaica.
And Rufus, don't forget the hair and nails. Ain't funded their lifestyles no more, so they can go ahead and save their money.
Hey, Pastor, what's going on, bro? Welcome to the show, man.
What up, Pastor?
Mic check, Pastor. You must be doing some doctor things or whatever you do in the hospital.
This is being talked about enough, but a common trend I'm noticing specifically on social media is that Black American women or Black women in the US are struggling to make friends. And I'm noticing that the common denominator is they were either sheltered as a child or they went to predominantly white schools. And what I think is being missed is that is hindering your daughter's opportunity of receiving upward mobility. Notice how the most successful Black women, whether they are sellouts or not, they know how to leverage their communication skills to receive the recognition and the awards that they want. And they have a support team right behind them. Yet, if we are struggling to do the bare minimum and just communicate effectively with each other so we can be friends, how do we expect as Black women to receive that same award and recognition from others when we
that's a whole lot of words to say nothing?
I know. Look. Well, let me condense it. If they can't even like each other, why should we like them?
Thank you.
Like that's that old running joke. Like, women understand women and women hate each other. So why am I wrong for being a misogynist?
Yo,
I'm doing a golf clap.
Black women have the social mobility like a turtle that's drunk some lean. That's how slow and motherfucking they move with their so-called logic and they so-called friendships. That's how.
Well, I'll tell you what, man. I know Hood, man. We give you shit in Telegram about this, bro. But the thing is this: Black 2026, the whole Black thing is just played out, and the Black women are the last to catch on. For the most part, brothers are realizing it. Like, oh my God, the Gen X and Boomers and Millennials, they played us. They made us think, this race shit was real when it ain't. Well, we Gen X, we figured that out in the 90s. And now everything, these Black women, they went all in on it with Biden. And that shit crashed like the housing market in 2008. And now everybody else knows that the whole race shit is played out, except black women.
I agree with Trey on this one, man. It's kind of hard to make friends when everybody's racist or misogynist. I mean, it's really kind of hard to make friends when you kind of limit your options.
I look at this as like conservative. No, this is the blame hot potato. So right now we need to find another group of to pass the hot potato to. Because that's basically what it is. They need someone to blame for their failures, and it's not themselves. So we need a new person to blame. Who's that going to be?
Light skin Keisha, white Becky. I mean, they already went through a whole gauntlet. Black men bad, Brad bad, but I still want to be with Brad and Chad. I don't know where they're gonna go.
My Kashi bet's going to be the immigrants are next. That's going to be the next on the blame game.
Depending on what kind of immigrant. Now, they have a fondness for the so-called Arab immigrants. You know, we've seen them in a.
That will change soon. That will change soon. Give it time. Give it till summer.
Okay.
Especially when gas prices are going to be through the roof, they're going to blame them. It's going to change real quick.
In our financial advice, I have been looking at the markets on stash, investing in some oil, referring to REITs, but just not no financial advice. It's not financial.
Man, just look at day trade. Just watch oil, day trade. Just look at oil. Look at the validity of it and just play the market.
All volatile, but the justified the ends justify the means, and high dividends is what we all here for.
Guys, you know what? I think we are pretty much coming to the end of today's show. I think I maybe run one last clip here, but we're pretty much winding things down here. Any last thoughts we got on black women? Well, not just black women generally struggling, and somehow it's men's fault. I just find this whole thing hilarious. I found that NPR story this morning. I'm like, really? Niggas can't do nothing without women being mad about it. Somehow niggas are struggling, and that's the reason why women are struggling. It's a crazy connection they just made.
And it's just like they really trained the brain of the masses to really have this double-minded, like how two things could be right when one of them is gonna have to be the actual option. Like,
it's real.
Men are doing.
I was gonna say morale will improve when women's happiness improves, but until then, we're all gonna have to suffer.
But I'll put it like this, fellas, on my way out the door. A couple of weeks ago, I'm chilling in a bar in San Antonio, like this 70-some-year-old white dude with like this 20-some-year-old little tiny little Filipina. And he told me straight up, man, fuck these American hoes. I was done. My ex-wife did me dirty. I freaking did her dirty back and moved to the Philippines. And look what I brought back with me. And I got 3 houses over there and a couple cars. Think I'm ever coming back and fuck my kids too. That's where we're at, bro.
Brian McKnight, F them kids.
Hey, when a 70-year-old white dude is saying that, man, it's a wrap.
Yep.
Married, and that's why people are so quick to want to get the ring and don't care about the lifestyle. That's why more people have weddings and less people have marriages. From my personal opinion, women are definitely desperate for relationships, romantic relationships, I should say. I know y'all don't want to hear this. There is a married woman out there that knows her husband's tendencies and behaviors. There are women that know that man is a pedophile, that man is a pervert, that man is doing something he shouldn't be doing, and they look past it because at least they can say they're with somebody. At least they can say they have a man. Why is it an insult to say to a woman, that's why you're single, that's why you don't have a man, that's why you're not married? But it's never the same insult for a man. When you insult a man, you say, that's why you don't get no. Oh, okay. There's a video floating around in Houston of a decorator that decorated a hotel room for a man that was having his 12th year anniversary with his wife. As she's recording the room, the husband is asking her for schmecks for $200, and she's repeatedly telling him no. And he's like, you know, what people don't know don't hurt. And guess who came to his defense even after hearing that audio? The wife. And she posted a video where you can hear the conversation with the wife, and the wife is like, what was offensive? And it's like, girl, I don't have to draw it out. You're defending that because you know that's who he is.
Or hear me out, that's the best she can do.
Bingo. Is that the other side of the struggle? Women are too good for the best they can do.
Say it again for the people in the back.
Modern women are too good for the best they can do, romantically speaking. That seems to, like the 80-20 thing, all these little things that the Manosphere was talking about. I think Pastor typed in the chat, Migto was right a long time ago. He just didn't want to accept it. A lot of these little truisms that Migto introduced to the conversation, they seem to be inescapable. The bad boy phenomenon, body count, 80-20. These are just things that are maybe somehow part of the basic human animal. We don't like to accept the reality of certain things. This is why, like, when I think about, the grand scheme of things, marriage and the structure of all these things, I accept the superiority of that kind of framework, because if you just leave us both, men and women, to our own worst desires, everything burns. And so you need to have rules and structure for both sides of this equation. But I think we're going to wrap this up right here. Any last thoughts? Are we going to get up out of here, guys? Because I got to get going in a minute.
Thanks for having me up.
I appreciate it, man. It's good to be up in the wild hood. Take it easy, bro. Be safe out there on the road, bro.
No doubt. Thanks for coming up. Good talking to you guys.
Happy Friday the 13th, everybody.
Is it really? Oh, shoot. I just noticed that. Let me go out. Let me go out and get my shopping done early before the sun go down.
Yeah, you don't want that moon coming up, man. It's going to be rough tonight.
It's going to be a lot of lonely hoes out here on the prowl on Friday the 13th. I just know it. I'm dodging lonely hoes tonight. I just know it. It's a full moon and the hoes are lonely. We got to go, guys. We got to go. Thank y'all so much for supporting the show, man. Hit that like button on your way out. Like, share, and subscribe. I will be back with another one probably tomorrow. Peace, y'all.
Aspiring to be patriarchs like what white men have, that isn't freedom. That isn't going to help anybody. It's certainly not going to help black people.
It's done. It's done. It's done. It's done. It's done. It's done.